Yom Kotzev Amalochim Aruba. Happens to be this week. I had a ton of very interesting Sheilos. The first Shaila, I don't want to be ma'arich in it because next week I'll get back to another Shaila which was negated to this one too. But it was just shocking to me to hear such a Shaila. So a person is a schnorrer, and so the person does it for a living, and now he has a dispute with the driver. What's the Maisa? Okay, so I'm learning about a whole industry here. So there are drivers that have addresses.
Thank you.
So, and they take a few people at a time that are collecting, a few collectors at a time. And the deal with the collectors are that when I drop you off at a block and I tell you the address, and if 2 or 3 people go out of the car and one goes to one address and then Choyza Chalila, they go from, and then when you come back to the car, I need to see the checks.
Wow.
And I get 33%. Some people get 40%. Some drivers.
Some get more than the Shadar.
No, wait a minute. A lot of these people that are collecting don't have accounts or have accounts. There's all kinds of stories with these people. So then they go to a couple of moisters who cash the checks for them for 3 or 4%.
Right.
And the rest is left in their pocket. So now this schnorrer, Nebuch, a woman who collects, and so she went with a car, and they went to a house in the 5 towns, and the Balabayas was pushed them off 5 times. The 5th time he told the woman, "Don't come back again. But if you want, you can call me." So she called him, and when she called him, he said, "Look, I had enough with these drivers." He said, "I gave a person a check for, I had Rachmanas, $1,800. They added a zero, it was $18,000.
Wow.
He says that this driver, he says there's plenty of employee who cashes the checks, and then he knows my address, and then he sells it. Besides getting 3%.
He sells the information.
Yeah, he sells the information. He says, besides the 3% is the small thing. The 3% he gets from you when you cash your check is nothing. What he really gets is he sells lists of addresses to drivers. To other drivers. The kids are, so the woman
Eventually gets cheap.
It's very.
People get sick of it.
I just can't
Sounds
believe
like
to
a
hear
great
this.
business.
This is not the Shaila yet. Wait. So the Shaila. So now
United Way look kosher.
it's crazy. So now.
You charge a minimal fee to the driver if you want.
Yeah, drive.
$500,000 a year.
What?
The guy monthly makes $405,000 a year.
They have some driver, you have
He
to call
doesn't
him.
drive around. He sits right in front of the most busy grocery store. Anyone that gets in his way, he threatens them. He has the most kosher spot. Right when you're about to leave out the grocery store, he's right there. If you come close,
He's not the driver.
yeah.
It's like a mafia.
It is, Mama.
They have some driver, you have to call him 3 months in advance to book him. If not, he's a very good driver.
So now the woman begged the person to give a donation. So he said, "You know what? Let me help you for your personal needs. What do you need?" So I need this, that. You know what? I'll send you a check directly to your landlord to pay for your rent. So he sent her a check for $1,000. Okay, she's very happy. But the driver's calling her.
You want money?
Did you get anything?
No.
So because when she came back in the car, she said that he told me to call. She didn't know what he's going to say.
Oh, you should.
So now he wants to know. He wants to know. So she's asking me, does she have to tell him? Does she not have to tell him? Does she feels that she doesn't have to give him any money?
It's like going around an agent, a real estate agent.
Right.
Halacha,
Right.
according to Halacha.
All right. Yeah. So
Maybe you
she,
should give her
Wow.
$10 and
That's
say,
a
"Come,
good
then call me again, and that'll be over."
That's a good Shaila.
so the emphasis, there's one big part of the Shaila is about this whole industry. Could you sell information? Could you sell? But so I'm gonna just one nekuda that's in the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch. Look here in the first, on top of the page. The Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch Shemish B'Din Mechira is an unbelievable important halacha. Afu b'shein hamekach nidmer b'dvarim b'lavad v'rashe kol adam lachzeh behem min adin afilu kilus mishapore ein tzarich lekabel. A person with words, there's no deal with words.
Wow.
So If you make a deal and you go back in the deal, sometimes there's a concept of a mishapor, but not here. However, im loina samoas, as long as you didn't give the money. Once you give the money, there's a concept of a mishapor. A person that makes a deal and then backs out of the deal, even though.
Sheilos, if this is a deal.
Oh, exactly. It's a very high level. If you had in mind to sell it for a certain price, to sell it for that price, even though the guy offered more, it's only a Yiddish Shamayim, it's not yet obligated. Yeah, sure. Then if you were planning to buy it for a certain price, that you shouldn't be chayzer. That's it. So it's a very high level, but the Paul Alter brings it. Even if you tell the person is going to give them a matana, you have to keep your word. We're talking about a matana mu'etis. So I'm just lamaisa in this case. I think what is emes v'yosher is like this. The din is if a woman, when she goes into marriage, she obligates that everything she works goes to her husband. Once if a person gives her matana, everything goes to the husband. Once if a person gives her matana and says, but tonight your husband doesn't have a nickel and dime, so then you're mekayim his word. So it's complicated to figure out how to do it.
Who's mekayim the words?
Then if a person says to the woman, I'm giving you money, but now your husband doesn't see a nickel of this money.
She can do that?
Yeah. Because the noise of matana...
But isn't the original Haskell Machnas Dois everything you earn? Whether words can't change this agreement.
No,
that's like Misha Parah.
No, because the noisance says, I don't care what you made a deal with your husband to give him everything, but I'm giving you a matana. I'll only menas that your husband is not getting a nickel of it.
Before they get married?
After 10 years after.
And it's good. It's not good.
Doesn't that undermine the marriage?
Yeah, undermines the marriage.
It could.
No, isn't there a Gemara that says that?
I wouldn't advise. If you want to,
says whatever a woman owns, a husband.
Right.
Match can't see it kind of bad.
But
If she's a good woman, she said, no, my husband get everything I get. My wife is it.
The question is if he's a good husband.
So this guy who says befedish to this woman that I'm giving you the $1,000 to pay for your rent. I'm paying directly your rent. I'll menas that the driver doesn't get a nickel and a dime. And I don't want that institution that sells my address and takes 3%. He has the right to do that. The only shaila is that she might have to pay him for the ride. So she has to find out how much Uber would charge for such a ride to the 5 towns.
I don't think they'll be happy.
No, but still, she would never have taken it if she knows she would get rejected.
See, a better way to look at it is...
The driver's taking his chances. It's not the only address that she went to that night. She probably went to other addresses too.
I hear what you're saying.
Don't just go to one address.
That's a good shot.
See, a
Good
Rob, a
point.
better way to look at it is, what would be the arrangement if there was an usury involved for him to show where the address was to take the chance? What would be
There's
the
no
court?
usury
What would be
involved. Usury.
I'm using the term usury in the colloquial sense. What would be a fair arrangement? 10%, 15%. You know,
I don't know.
an iffy thing. If he's taking a risk, if he takes her there,
Right.
so you have to compensate.
Right. But that's in a regular case. That's in a regular case. Here, the guy made a condition. He said, I want the money to go to the rent.
Yeah, because he stipulated.
The guy said that.
Reb said Abish has enough money for everybody.
So he's able to subvert it with his kavanah.
Right, he said the fetish.
I see, interesting.
But I still didn't get back to the woman. Someone just made a good point. That could, right, he paid the landlord directly. But still, she took a ride with him. Sheilos if she made any other money that night, and it's a good point.
Should have said call the landlord and
No, she still wants to get rides with this guy. She doesn't want to burn bridges.
Oh, really?
So,
That's good.
okay, next Shaila. There was a woman that had a Shaila this week. Achman al-Atzlan, she had a contorted ovary, and she needed an emergency surgery to take out the ovary. Baruch Hashem, the Eibishter was brilliant. He made her the body with a couple of tires, and the ovaries are one of them.
Same shape as a tire.
Yeah, a little bit of that. So there's a couple of stuff that the Eibishter gave the spear tires, and this is one of them. So nicht gefährlich. So the question was does the husband asked if he has to insist to get the ovary and later bury it in a cemetery. So this is a good question. That's a good question, right? So the thing is, I didn't get. I paskin blakula straight, because I didn't want to add to the family's anguish. But I don't think the policy of the hospital would allow to be machmir on this. I doubt that if he went to the surgeon before and said, I'm not signing until you agree that after the surgery bring me a plastic bag with the ovary, I think the doctor would just walk away. I mean, this is not a joke. The surgery needed to be done. But anyway, so I want to go through, because the violet, there's a lot of things that are negeya.
What about tonsils? Anything you take out?
Okay, and
No,
that's
this
covering
is a
everything.
about whether it's like a vlad. No, it's
I'm
not
going to talk
shayla.
about it. No, Evim and Achai.
So what about-
if a person has an amputated
really?
leg? Yeah. there's
What
big
about a
shayla.
tooth? What about a tooth?
You're going to talk about a tooth. Talk about everything. So
Patient.
no.
I am a patient. Exactly what I am, a patient. I have too many of yours already. I have a whole collection of yours. I don't need any more.
It's $1 for each tooth.
Rabbi, before you
Not
start
by
with
him.
this, can I say a little story about my shop?
Yeah. Tell
Help a lot.
Yeah.
I had about 25 years ago, I had a Mishulachem eating by me Shabbatot, and I heard one of them to send him back to Israel.
Yeah.
I asked why. And he was big Talmid Chacham. He used to give Torah on the table, 40 people, and he said Torah. Live in Netanya, I don't say his name. I said why. He knew how to imitate people. He called a big, rich guy in Long Island. He imitated Rabbi Yosef. Like he is a rabbi, he said, I'm going to send you a guy by this and this name. He will come about 4 o'clock today. Please take care of him like you take care of me.
Wow.
He gave him $80,000.
Oh my God.
Wow.
80. Now the guy later on, the rich guy knew what, he stopped giving to nobody. He said, I don't give nobody. I don't care.
Not even the
people that.
Chachamavazi would give back. Would he give the Chachamavazi if it really wasn't?
There's a lot of them.
But I didn't know, Chamobali, I heard about it.
I can't.
That's the question.
A lot of people they don't
Rabbi,
even
give him his
they don't even
check.
put their numbers on the check.
Especially my account that I have to confirm the check, otherwise it won't.
Yeah, but what about the
Wow.
written part? How do they
I have
do
to
that?
confirm it. My bank gives me the right to 4 o'clock to confirm it or reject it.
Wow.
Every check.
Every check.
Wow.
What do they do with the written words? How do they change that?
There are some banks in Yerushalayim that don't pay too much attention to
You
it.
take first of all with the phone.
And it gets positive.
Wow.
He used to be banks in Brooklyn, didn't pay attention.
Just that he gave another zero.
Then Brooklyn became Crooklyn.
Probably still.
Unbelievable.
Not anymore.
Wow. Okay.
Did they have a check
You're not going to report them. You're not
Huh?
going to do it. You don't want the guy sitting
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh,
They were all upset at the Vad in Los Angeles. They said, you know what the guy usually gives. You
Can be.
They come to him to get the switch.
Can't double and
Right.
well, we heard it was $180,000. See, the story grew a beard. It was only 18,000.
Khalil was 180.
No, it was first 1800. He said.
Oh,
He said it was
This
1800
lady
at
said
first.
that the guy said he gave 1,800,
Right.
and the guy added a zero.
Wow.
oh,
Wow.
18,000. Not
Yeah.
18,000.
No.
That was Bonds probably.
Wow.
Okay, so the question about Avim and Akai burying a limb, Rahman al-Islam, if a person has a surgery, or if their woman has a miscarriage, or Rahman al-Islam, or in a happy occasion, today there is women that have home birth, and there's a Sheilos what to do with the placenta, all of this, I'll talk about everything, all burials of pieces, and including the tooth. Okay, so let's quickly learn the Gemaras. I set it up into 2 bunches: the Gemaras Ba'ad and the Gemaras Be'neged, and then the Shittas and the Poiskim Ba'ad and Be'neged. So,
Louis Pashkin, the last case, that what?
oh, what I said to the
Yeah,
woman?
he does.
I don't think
Not to give it to the driver.
right. You don't have to give.
He's allowed to
I didn't
stipulate.
answer the woman yet, but I think she doesn't have to pay. Just whatever, as a driver, as a taxi driver, if this was his only ride he gave, then she has to figure out, maybe next time throw in a little more to the thing.
He might have to take her because she.
All right.
For the whole business.
Yeah. Okay, that's up there. That's not Halacha Shayla. Okay, the Gemara. The Gemara says in Sanhedrin, Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Shem Vaychaim. Nan Lamel Nesmeisa Shayva Beloitase. If a person doesn't bury and leaves overnight the mace, that if he doesn't bury the mace, that shoyvim beloitase. Iked amri amar Yochanan mishum l'shem b'yachai remes l'kvur men ha'torah v'nayim tamalam kikover tikberenu nekan remes l'kvur men ha'torah. So mitzvah say loitase to bury the dead. Amar l'shvur malka Reb Chama shvur malka said to Reb Chama kvur men ha'torah v'nayim. How do we know men ha'torah that you have to bury ishtik? He was quiet. But all over the media, he said nothing. Amar Reb Chama by Yaakov, Reb Chama Rebacha by Yaakov said, Imser alma biyadoi tipshoi. What happened in this generation? The Talmidei Chachamim are fools. The world came into the hands of fools. What's the shaila? When Shur Malka asked, who says you have to bury the dead? The boy Lemeime should have answered. The pasuk says, Kikover. You have to bury it. So he said no, because he was scared that the Melech is going to say, bury it in the mausoleum. But no, but the pasuk says, double lashon, cover tigberenu. Loy mashmalay. You know, you're going to tell a guy, the pasuk got a double lashon. It's state. Well, the king is a guy. It's a double lashon. He's not going to. The name Alay, with the ikber tzadikaya. You should bring him all the stories of the Bible that the tzaddikim are buried. So then, minhaga ba'alma, the king is going to say, that was the minhaga. That's what they did. Who says that midikover HaKadosh Baruch Hu Moshe should bring him at Ai because the Eibishter buried Moshe? The Rabban Shalom is a nice guy. He doesn't want to be Mishana the minig. So
just in this week's Parsha, that tikover.
Right, so that's the minig. That's the minig. That's what the Gemara says. That's what Shua Malka could say. So the Bnei Yeshiva asked the kasha, Kvura mishum bizyoino, mishum kaporu. Why do we bury? And it shouldn't be a bizoyin that there is a yid is the body is chas v'shalom decomposing, or it's a kapora. Rashi says, what's the kapora? Kehechad level like kapora batamonazu shemoridin o mashpilin oise betachtiyos. It's like I think the guy is lowered in the casket with those ropes. You lower him down. And it's a kasabizoyin, so that is a kapara for the deceased. So what's the difference this way or that reason? If the guy says before he dies he doesn't want to be buried, if you're going to say it's a bizoyin, he has no right. It's a bizoyin for his body, it's a bizoyin for the Eibishter, it's a bizoyin, he has no right over it. If he says he doesn't, if you say that the reason burial is a kapara, he says he doesn't want the kapora. Rashi says when a person says he doesn't want to have kapora, even if you're going to bury him, the kapora is not going to be a kapora.
It could be kapora?
That's not going to work, says Rashi. It's not going to be a kapora. That's what the Gemara says.
His intention survived beyond his passing?
Yep.
Wow. It's a very big problem.
How can a person be making a tanai against the Torah?
Yeah.
So the Choyre is a good kasha. So my pshat is very simple, and it's going to be negei la'alocha soon. That who is talking over here? Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, we know from Lo Tachbel Beged Almon, Reb Shimon Bar Yochai holds that Tarshin time of the Kro, that we darshan the reason of a pasuk. So Reb Shimon Bar Yochai holds that we have to know what's the reason of the pasuk. The Torah say we have to bury because of bizoyin. The Torah say you have to bury because of kapara. So a lot of the Sheilos of Tshuvos that talk about to say that wait a minute, there's not shaykh to say that there's a kapora when you bury one limb. Why? They say because Rashi says that when the body is lowered in the ground, it's a big bizoyin. But it's not shaykh to say by when you're burying a Rachmana litzlan a limb.
Why not? If one limb is strewn around, it's not a bizoyin.
Into the ground.
That's a bizoyin though.
You don't know what.
Okay, listen, you could argue with them. I'm just telling you what.
What does it do with the burying? How you bury?
It's not a kapora. They're saying, what can the kapora?
But it's a bizoyin though.
The person feels bad.
Bizoyin though.
The person lost a limb.
Right.
No, bizoyin, like it's
that's what I'm saying.
Bizoyin, but it's not kapora. What kapora is shaykh over here? If a person passed away,
maybe it was an oynish that the person lost his arm.
Okay, but still, what's the kapora?
Goes back to offer.
But that doesn't sound in Rashi, because Rashi says ke'echad al havale kapora v'atmonazu shemoridin u'mashpilin oise betachtiyos. So they say that doesn't make sense. That's talking about a leg. That there's that now there is a kapora because the leg is being lowered into the ground. If you're going to say the kapora is Rachmana litzlan, he lost the leg, I hear. You tell me that now it's a technical thing. They went to the cemetery and they buried his leg, and there's an unbelievable bizoyim from this. What's the hashpola here? They lost the leg. Is hashpola?
There is hashpola because the body decomposes. So the person feels bad if he knows that his body is rotting away. I think so.
Especially also, Rabbi, because one second.
He's not thinking about it.
Guys,
No, but 1 second. We'll think about this. When there's going to be tchias hamesim, he wants that all his whole body to be together. When there's going to be a tchias hamesim, he doesn't want to have a tchiyah without a limb.
That's an emissazach. There are people that.
When a person, let's say, low lane is hung, so therefore you're not supposed to leave the body,
Right.
Because
Right.
it's
That's the beginning of the Gemara.
That's how we know that we have to do klura.
Right, that's how we know. That's at the beginning of the Gemara, which is talking about the Daled Mrs. Bezdin, and that's really what a lot of the poskim say. That the pasuk is talking about a mace, so that's what the pasuk is talking about. The pasuk is talking about a person that was killed in Bezdin, and from this we learn to every human being that it's bizoyim for the melech, because every yid is made in the image of the Eibishter. So if he's not buried, it's a bizoyim to the Eibishter. But that's a whole body. But if you have a limb, that doesn't, the pasuk doesn't say it, and it's not sitting here.
I was going to say this.
Oh, the tumah we'll get to in a second. Oh, the tumah is where it's all in the tumah.
The Gemara Chagida says that if a person is going to a field where there are bones,
It's if you lose your whole body, you only have that less. No, serious. If you only have that loose, then that can't get destroyed, so the body comes back to it. But
We'll get to tumah now. We'll get to tumah.
By the way, it's
Get it.
comment to
Right in the test
Right. Yeah, all shluchim deal with it all the time. Right, shluchim deal with this all the
By
time.
the way, the soldier, Israeli soldier, gets killed. They buried him
everything. They
with the clothes,
they
with
get
the
every
blood,
piece of
with the
skin.
pieces of body, with
Right,
everything
the
else.
Saskim and Eretz Yisrael.
But that's with a mace.
Zaka,
That's with a mace.
That's where he's
Oh,
dead.
they- every drop. Every drop. That's
So
what
the
the
fighter,
mace.
why would the nation
Because-
have blood?
Because
Blood is not going to anyway.
Because the Torah says that a mace has to be buried. So every part of the mace has to be buried with it. The shaila is this mitzvah that the Eibishter said? It's a Befedish apostle. The problem is that's funny. There's no Befedish Gemara that deals with this. But the Torah says kikavetik barenu. But that's when a person dies. The shaila is if a limb fall off in his lifetime, if that applies.
Is that a svara? It's amazing that.
Oh yeah, Svara bring the Svara that they brought that the Chidah brings that there was ad kedei kach that there was a zoken echad that even when he lost a tooth he used to hide it, and when he was buried he had a tzavo when he's buried that they should bury all his teeth that fell out with him, so you'll have it for tchias mason. And then he lost one of his teeth, and he has b'tzar gadol that he lost one of his teeth. So that's what he done. Yosef Oimetz, he brings a Sheilos. So he said a tshuva to that zoken that don't worry about it, and the Raya doesn't need kvuda because the Gemara says about Rabbi Yochanan getting a brachas that he carried the tooth of his son. There's a charaya that is not chayiv kvuda. Don't worry, Mashiach will come. You'll get a new set of
Maybe
teeth.
the child died before he lost his second teeth, before he lost his baby teeth.
You got dentures, maybe.
Oh, so Zeraya is not a raya.
Let's put it on the pillow.
Turns out, Rabbi, that the body has, they've just discovered recently in science that the body has regenerative potential. That there's some organs that the body naturally will regenerate.
Okay.
Okay. Now they're starting to.
What about the tonsils?
Genetically,
The liver.
Tonsils,
the
though, not
liver,
Right.
there's other organs.
Not the
now.
tonsils.
Not the tonsils.
Not the teeth.
They take them out surgically.
They don't
It's a
take them
different
out
thing,
anymore.
but
It's
it
right.
loses it naturally.
There's a
The
liver,
body
liver
has
left.
memory.
It's not a trophy.
And it can
Right.
actually,
It's
just
within.
like a starfish, it can actually regenerate.
Rabbi, I was
Yes,
one
it makes it
time.
for sure it'll be possible.
I was in Levaya, Moroccan lady, and the denture, they took it and put it inside.
Yeah. Okay. Mashiach
Took it and put it in.
Okay.
I looked
Okay. So now this is the Gemara on the one side, which also they say that why didn't the Gemara? Unless you say that it's shaykh, both reasons are shaykh by Evem and Ames. I mean, if only one of the two reasons, the Gemara should have said this as an afkamina. So this is one. On the other hand, look at Ayaz Lechiyuv. There's several Gemaras. One Gemara is Nazir, which is a very strong. It's brought many the Chuvas, the Shaila of Neider Chuva, Neider Behuda, and the Moshe Feinstein thinks that this is like a open shut case. This Gemara is so strong that this is that's it. You can't argue with the Saraya. The Gemara says in Nazir Tanya Rabbi Yehuda Omer, it says Lo Yutama. That a kohen should be metama to his relative. Lo metama. Ve'ena metama laverea. He could be metama to bury his sister, but not one of the limbs of the sister. She'ena metama al ever min achai shaloviv. If chas v'shalom his father passed away and there's a leg that's disconnected, he has to be metama himself and take the leg and bury it. But if his father is still alive and let amputated the leg, he shouldn't be metama himself. So as all the poskim say, wait a minute, why would you think for a minute he should be matzah? Also for Toyin to be matam himself? Because really it's chayiv kvuda. And because it's his father, he's chayiv to bury. Alamai, it's like Zedis HaKosov. Not. That's what is brought, the Moshe Feinstein thinks from Niggas Moshe, that this is such a strong raya. La'aloche he paskens l'chumre. The Moshe is the only strong machmi. He says any limb and the body must be buried, and there's a chiv kfura, and he says, this Gemara is so strong, I don't care, the night to be able this, that, and the other, even though a lot of poskim hold lakula. You could argue a little bit on this, and Moshe himself brings that this, you could say that you would have thought that he has to bury it, because in other words, the other kainim shouldn't become tamei.
When a person's amputated, and he's from, he would instruct the doctors, the hospital, to make sure the limb gets put aside.
Yeah, right. So I don't know, as I said before.
And it gets stored in the meantime while he's alive? I mean, like...
That's special.
No.
Give
They give, after the surgery, you should give it to him. And they give it to Chaber Kadisha. No, positive. You should go to the cemetery, to the Jewish cemetery.
He's alive, this person.
No, you bury the leg.
Yeah, they buried the leg. Yeah.
It's gonna rot.
You didn't hear because you weren't here before. Now you're here, you know. And now that you learned about it, it's a zgula that you'll never need to chas v'sholom.
They don't make landfills. They don't make
It's a good challa, but I'll get to it. It's a good challa because it's negated. Like we'll talk soon. The placenta of a woman or a nafel. A woman is a whole headache, to go send her husband to go bury a nafel of this. Right, so that I'll get to in a second.
If they asked for Moshe, if someone had a plot, kfura plot in there to soul,
should they send it there?
Send it to his kfura plot?
Nah, the Moshe is not into this stuff. I don't know. You just have to bury it. This is a ruchnisdik thing, and the Moshe will tell you to go to.
The Rav is also a ruchnisdik of posik.
I don't know.
Would he have to? You think he would have to?
No.
Where you bury it?
I would say if a person, I would say this. If a person already bought his plot, and he has it sitting, why not?
Yes,
why not? Why not? Huh?
Yeah.
This is 6 feet.
No, do it a little shorter because they don't want to have to dig twice.
When they bury him, they're going to pull it out.
No, but they put the sand straight back in. That sand that they take out, they put straight back in.
They're going to put the skeleton.
They put it straight back in.
They're going to put the skeleton back to where it was missing.
Put
it straight back in.
Putting it back in.
And then the prosthetic, though, the prosthetic they'll throw out. If the person gets a prosthetic leg, then when they come to the kfura, they'll take the prosthetic leg out and they'll put the skeleton from his old leg.
I'm not sure the Chaver Kadisha will. Guy could leave a lot of instructions. The Chaver Kadisha will do it.
By the way, there are a bunch of late son and the guys in the Chaver Kadisha.
That's how they survive it.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
Okay, next Gemara.
My brother 10 years I'm in Yerushalayim, and they're all making jokes like they're about to play poker.
Sagt die Gemara in Ksubes, Amr Reb Chanina, mitoich she'anoshim, koiv resham nefleim, umukeshchin zrayesayim. So the Gemara has a whole discussion about where next to the city usually the women put the nefolim and the mukeshchin put their evorim because of a child of tumah. So it's mashma that's a minig Yisrael. So many of the poskim say, yeah, sure, that was the minig Yisrael. But who says, like the Gemara said, it's minhaga? Who says that that's a din? And maybe the minig is in order for the kohen not to become tummy. Another medrash is the third one. Isa medrash Rabbi Bereishis Parsha Samach Shneim Nenshu B'Damer Shel Naida. That they're both punished. Who is punished? Yiftach and Pinchas. Yiftach said that the first one that comes out of the house will be a korban. So the really all he needed to his daughter walked out, and his daughter Nebuch, whatever happened to his daughter, she never got married or whatever. She lived. Yeah, she was stuck in a house and about. But the shaila is The Gemara says it's not this neder is not a neder, and this thing is not a thing. He should have just went, and even if it is a neder, he could have went to Pinchas and be mater neder, and what's the big deal? Elamai, it was an ego question. Pinchas said, let him come to me, I'll be mater neder, no problem. I'm here, I'm right here in the basement of Menachem Mendel, let him come, he knows the address, 703 Avenue J. And Yiftach said, I'm the Nasi. What do you mean? Come to the White House. Come to the White House and with Shtelna Bezdin.
She suffered.
So she suffered. The Vaila Pinchas didn't walk out of the Beis Medrash, and Yiftach didn't walk out of his palace. And in the meantime, the woman, the Nebach, the girl suffered. The Shneim Nenshu, so they both got punished. Yiftach Meis ben Eshilas Eivarim. Nebach, when he died a painful death. That he was sick and one limb at a time fell off his body. Plural. Pinchas is nitl mimenu ruach hakodesh. So we see from here that you have to bury the Eivarim. Again, the Mekilim say, yeah, just like it's minhag, that's minig Yisrael, and again, in order for the Kohanim not to become Tomei. So the bottom line is the Mekilim are the Noid, the Yehuda, the Shvus Yaakov, they're very big poskim, and however, they're mekalach b'chlal. However, the Baril Diskin says that it's from these Gemaras we see that it's a minig to bury, and so it's brought in the Pachad Yitzchak. It was one of the Gdolei poskim Asfardim. He said minig fiura. Firara in Italy. Likbar Eva Menachai Kemoisha Osa Alazokin Kemar Shmuel Riati. Zechroine Livroche Shechotchu Ragloi Mach Masamako Venigbar. So Lapod that Metzad Minig you have to bury it. The Tzitz Eliezer has a long tshuva and he holds the kula, but the Igis Moshe holds the chumra. Lamaisa, if there's one more nakuda that's negated to this shaila, which is if you say that
It doesn't say that he was killed already.
Zeva Menachai, he died. He took him 5 years till die. The first thing he lost a leg, and they buried it. So why did they bury it?
But also, Rabbi, in Nifchas case, since the word got out, they're probably expecting him already. So
they buried
for
it.
them to bury the parts.
Okay, well, they buried it.
The word got out. He's every city.
So you see, there's a chiyuv.
Waiting when he came.
Okay, one more nakuda that's negay in our case. Nearly, Lamanda Amishu Kadela Shalo Yutama Koinim Zayn Shaykh Bandin the Dan in the ovaries. Why? Why is it not in the guy in the ovaries? So the Rambam writes in Ilchas Tumas Meis Perik Beis Halacha Gimel Eva Shenech Techmina Odam Achai. Anytime you cut off an Eva from a living person, Areu Kemeis Shalom Umetama B'Maga B'Masa B'Oil Afila Eva Cotton Shel Ben Yoim Shavorim Eilam Shir Shenam Kol Asher Yiga Pnei Soda V'Chalal Cherev. It makes no difference if it was with a sword or with a scissor. What's the difference?
Yeah,
1 second, we'll get to that. That anytime the aver is disconnected, it's metama b'maga or b'maso b'oil. Medvar mamurim shoya aver shalom kebriyosai has to be shalom basar gidim v'atzamas. But basar apoyrish min achai tor v'chein etzem belo basar apoyrish min achai is tor. If it's not basar gidim v'atzamas, it's tor. So actually I found the tshuva from the base of it, of Libes, about a woman that they had to take off her. She had cancer in her dadim, so the doctor wanted to later use it to study the machla. But he brings a whole complicated Gemara in Bechordis that there was Talmud Shel Bishmol, there was in Medina, and there was a Zoyna that was in Schayv Seref Alamelach, and then they went and they cooked her body, and they counted up all the Evarim, and they figured out that a woman has more Evarim than 248. Wow. So therefore he says, so the Dadim are part of them. So he said, so that's not Matama. I don't know why I have to go like this. Right. The truth is, any Aver that doesn't have a bone to it, if it was cut off from a live person, it's not metama b'maga or b'masa b'oil. It's not metama. So therefore, if you hold that the chiyuv kvuda is or the mina kvuda, either way, is because it's metama, even if you hold the Gemara Naze, you could hold the Chumrah. But if you hold it's because of the Inyan of Tuma, so then ovaries have no bone to it. There's no Evonim Pnimium have no bones. The Inyan at Tzemach Tzedek, he says, even though the brain is shoylet over the person, but it's not shoylet on Evonim Pnimium. As a whole hesber, why? The time is short. But the ikad is, in this shaila...
The brain doesn't control other functions?
No, it doesn't. How your stomach should work.
No, the gut.
How your stomach...
The second brain in the gut.
Yeah, but it doesn't... It doesn't control it. So b'meila, in this case, there's kamat not a tzad to say that it should have a chiv kvura. And I'm sure the hospital have their policies. I said no question. Shaila is that taka, if a person has an amputated leg, which does have a bone to it, it's abundantly clear from many of the Gemaras that Lapoil Minig Yisrael was to bury it. If a person already has a plot, why not let him use it in that plot? The same applies to a nefel. The Alter Rebbe brings that if it was already in the skashin vorm. The Gesher Chaim Rabbi Chil Michal Tikushinsky brings that Lapoil Minig Yisrael is after 5 months of pregnancy, if a woman has a miscarriage, to bury it, not to throw it out. The shaila is if in New York, if you throw it in the garbage, if that's considered like bury because it goes in a landfill, maybe. The same thing is, so that's it. They don't bury it right away with sand. Same thing as with the placenta. It's brought. There's an interesting Gemara Yerushalmi. He brings it here in the Tzitz Eliezer that Yerushalmi says in Perik Yuches and Shabbos, Toni Ashil Yazois b'Shabbos, Ashilim Toimim Noisa b'Shemen, Anim Toimim Noisa b'Choil. It was like a zgula for the child that they put the placenta into oil. However, after Shabbos, Elo v'Elo Toimim Noisa b'Oretz, Liten Eiraven la'Oretz. It was like Elo zgula for the child, that the earth is not going to hound the child. The earth wants the person to get buried already. So to reclaim, because offer ata lofa toshu. So we tell the earth, okay, you already have a piece of the baby. You already have one piece. And maybe it's also in other schools. But anyway, the bottom line is that we see that even the placenta, the minig Yisrael is to bury it. Why am I mentioning it today?
What about the orla?
Yeah. Why is it? 1 second. Why am I mentioning it today? Because when you're in the hospital and the woman gives birth, they're not asking you what to do with the placenta. You have a choice. If you want to pay X amount of money, they put it in, or whatever, but that's something else. But they're not going to give it to you in a bag, in a doggy bag, to take home to when you go home with the baby.
Do eat it.
Yeah, but the hospital won't give it to you. I don't think. I don't think the hospital will give it to you.
So what do you?
However, 1 second. However, today is becoming more and more popular that women are making a home birth. So when there's a home birth, you have to deal with it. It's yours. It's in yours, sitting in your bedroom, in your dining room. It's sitting right there. So you have to figure out what to do with it. So the taka minig Yisrael is to bury it. The taka,
Pickled placenta. They pickle it.
What?
Maybe the Chinese.
The person should take them out.
Yeah, the Chinese will eat it raw or pickled.
People really eat it. I'm not joking.
Matches.
They say it's very nutritious. I'm not joking.
You do matches.
I don't say Jews eat it.
No, I don't know if it's also ba'achila basar adam derabonon. But I don't know if this would be.
It's not Eber Menachai. It's a mate.
No, it is Eber Menachai. But I don't know if the midirabonon. It's also to eat human flesh.
Right.
The Shaila is if it applies to here.
The Rambam is a chiyuv aseh.
To when you eat human flesh.
What is it called? Again?
You're supposed to take it to the cover condition.
Oh no, a person can bury it in his backyard. Huh?
With no bones.
No, there's no bones. I'm saying it's only minig Yisrael, not mitzad the
Minig Yisrael to bury it.
to bury it. Yeah, this brother Yisrael.
To avoid health hazards, you should bury it with a plastic bag, and then just have to be mamash akura.
Yeah, we probably should bury it with a plastic bag. I probably shouldn't bury it in your backyard because here in this neighborhood you have raccoons and l'shmek.
It's
a chaticha.
What if you put it in the raccoon trap? Can you put it in the raccoon trap?
You know,
And, you know,
Just put two.
if you're
just
planning,
put two.
if you're planning to bury it with the raccoon,
Did you know? The possums.
I saw one in
Everything.
Crown
We
Heights.
have
Crazy.
What you do with it?
Possums in the city.
in the cemetery, you can bring it to the cemetery. You can put it in the
They
freezer.
walk around broad daylight like,
Okay, listen. It's only minig Yisrael. If a person is totaled, just put it in a plastic bag, put it in the garbage, and shkefela. But if a person wants to be mekayim this minig Yisrael, so they should put it in a plastic bag and put it in the freezer. Put it in the freezer. Let's sit in the freezer for a few months.
By mistake, you
Then, once when you're gonna, don't worry, you're not going to mistake it and make it instead of the roast.
And they're not going to make a new flavor. They're not going to make Ben and Jerry's placenta. Peanut butter placenta.
No. So then you put it in the freezer, and then when you're going to the oil and you have a little extra time, you take a little shovel with you. Bechashoy, obviously the front office shouldn't see it. So you go in a quiet place in the cemetery, and you'll go behind the grave and you'll dig up a little bit, put it in the bag, put the sand in
the
it.
old people doing that?
My father is so machmer in this. Every time there's a milah in the family, he insists that they have to take the milah and they go bury it in the backyard.
people do that.
There are people that do it.
I heard the Merlin planted. I heard the Merlin planted.
There is a inyan, a segula. They put it in a cup with a little bit of sand, and then when you turn around, they throw it in the garbage where it belongs. But I'm not saying where it belongs.
I
I'm
mean,
saying,
if you could have Avram Avinu's Mila, wouldn't people pay $1 million for it?
yeah, but they would have to keep it in the freezer. You'd have to keep it in the freezer.
Well, pickle it. They have in
He
these.
wants to be buried with it. He's saving it.
He's saving all the orlas.
There you go.
It decomposes to dust. Eventually, it just breaks down.
Or
Right.
if you pickle it, you have to have.
It's a little
They
thing.
can-
You know that in England they have universities that are 300 years old and they have in the labs
They vote him.
think that they
Right.
pickled for 300 years.
Right.
The Germans are great with pickling.
Oh yeah, I imagine they would be.
Great with pickling. That's why I mean.
The Germans probably.
Decomposes and he just takes his
Right, they keep.
It's nothing the Germans are not good at.
Okay.
Rami Cohn keeping them.
I don't know. No, I didn't say.
No, that's not money.
Yeah?
He just puts it in, it decomposes, it comes to dust anyways.
So he has all the dust.
Yes,
He wants to take it with him.
You mean your twins?
Now the question.
So summarize.
Volume miles for that.
Most poskim hold that the Eva Menachai is only a minig. Minig Yisrael probably not to have tuma. Therefore, if it's a Eva that doesn't have a bone to it, l'choyre, there's no Shiloh over here. Versteht sich, if the person has it in his hand and it's not an issue with the hospital, like I said, a placenta, which Yerushalmi says Vayeshev the minig to bury it, so taka, a person should bury it. The only exception is teeth, which Befedish, the Yosef Aimitz, the Chidos says that it's in his mind it was a joke, and he doesn't think that teeth need to be buried.
How common is this minhag halacha masa by people?
Which
Apparently
minig?
very
The
common.
minhag to
From the
bury a
conversation.
limb and so on.
What's a Gefedish Gemara that the
Yeah, but-
Mepashchim used to do it?
Bisman is that how common is
The Eibusha should help. It should not be a common shaila. I don't get the shaila very often. What do you mean? It's not. Oh, placenta is a common thing, but it wasn't common until recently because you're in the hospital and it wasn't a shaila.
Right.
Okay, one more shaila. I was out of Shabbos, and I ran in to buy something, and it was Erev Shabbos in the morning. Actually, it was in Crown Heights, and I meet one of our talmidim, Yaakov Wolansky. He learned smicha here, and I said, how's it going? The shlichus. He says, because of basic Mendel, I have an unbelievable parnasa. He said, if I would stop my shlichus, I'm doing good. This is the story. This is the story. He said, when he was here in yeshiva, at one of the shiurim, Rabbi Lipsker mentioned the idea of bringing, his wife does it, bringing a chalas to your valabatim. So a lot of shluchim do this. Yid that has so far from Yiddishkeit, they have no shaykhs at all, that zero shaykhs at all, and it's a way into the door. I mean, it's true. I must tell you, it works. There's a lady in our block, which her shaykhs, the Yiddishkeit, is the only thing is that she's very proud that she has a big sign in her window, "Mothers for Peace." So. How do you get into such a person with chalas? Takazoi. Okay. So this shliach took it to another level. So his wife was baking chalas, and he said he'd bring it in a plastic bag. So he surprised his wife once. She had the chalas she baked on Thursday, and he had these beautiful boxes with nice paper, and he had a sticker on it, Chayas Chalas. He says, "Why it's not Chayas Chalas?" That week, it was a smashing success. One of the balabatim had someone in the house. They called. They ordered a challah. Yeah, sure, no problem. For $12 you can get a challah. I'm just saying. He said, don't worry, the challahs are not $3 like here in the store. He didn't tell me how much he charges for the challahs, but he charges a premium. He says you wouldn't believe it today in Manhattan. We get phone calls on Thursday. People send Uber.
Wow.
They want to have 3 challahs. He showed me chayas challahs. They're crazy over. He shows me pictures. Cinnamon challahs, chocolate challahs, glow in the dark challahs.
Glow in the dark.
Yes.
Must bury them challahs.
Menorah challahs.
All kinds of challahs. He shows me pictures of big simchas where it's beautiful. There's a glow in the dark challah over there.
What do you put on top of it? What do you put?
Chemicals, so and
all organic.
What's it called? And he has all kinds of challahs. And he says it's Baruch Hashem. He bought this house 2 years ago. He's a Beis Chabad, and he knocked out. He's a big room, which is. He says now he has to knock out the garage. He's going to mitzvah Shem put in a commercial. Yep. And he has a mitzvah Shem. He says terrific. Besides his shlichus, the chalas became his full-time parnosa. Baruch Hashem. His wife.
Good one.
A lot of bread.
Yeah. Baruch Hashem. Yeah, he's bringing home the dough.
A lot of dough.
Exactly.
At least it's not the bacon.
And Baruch Hashem. So he said.
It's called Chabad of the Chalas.
Exactly. So the thing is, he said that recently there was a few in the neighborhood Persian families that raised a little bit of an objection. They said that this challah with the cinnamon and the chocolate and the double cinnamon and chocolate. He said, oh, they said it's a shayla. So he said, by the way, we're already standing here. This is one of the shluchim that from time to time he asks the shaylas. So I said, wow, you're asking the sugya. I'm so into the sugya, but there is an unbelievable chiddush from the Alter Rebbe in this. And the Alter Rebbe in the Shulchan Aruch writes that the Minig Yisrael was on Purim to make a big Iser Chava, to make a hamantash, and to put in sweet stuff and poppy seeds. And the Rebbe says, the bracha, this is mezoinus. Then he changed his mind in the Siddur. And he said, Befeirish, ve'ein b'chlal ze isa mulas b'shum shuvim she'oisem b'purim v'medinas eila she'ein ikir as yosin l'lidan v'tainag ela lamazim l'suda. Alter Rebbe changed his mind, and he said that if you made these pockets not l'lidan l'tainag or only lamazim l'soiva, it's 100% hamoitzi. It happens to be in the Shulchan Aruch in the bottom, as when we learned in the summer, we saw the guy writes that's not true b'zman hazeh. It's definitely true b'zman hazeh, because it depends if you're talking about hamatash and make cookie dough. Obviously, the dough itself is possible b'kisnin, but there are such chalas. There are people that ad hayom have this minig. At home, there's three times a year. My wife is just in case my mother's going to ask the kids. There has to be Rosh Hashanah. There has to be a hand challah, and Shana Rabbah there has to be a ladder challah, and on the Purim there has to be a big challah on the table, which is filled with the poppy seeds, because Bobby Chava did it, and that's what her Bobby did, and then the Lamaila Bakoidish.
What's the ladder challah for?
Fragnisht. Azoyet Bobby Chava get on, and no, not Shlisel challah. Every family has their minhagim.
Yes.
Hand challah on Rosh Hashanah, Shana Rabbah, a ladder challah, and on Purim, hamantash challah. The Alter Rebbe says that there was machadash in the siddur like this, because in the Shulchan Aruch he holds that anything that is a pocket full of fruit is possible b'kisnim, because that's not the regular bread that people eat. Right. But in the siddur he was machadash, a different chiddush. He was machadash a different. Let's read it quickly. Possible b'kisnim yesh meforshim who pas gemura asuy kamin kis u'mamal noisa koydem afiyosef aminu mesika k'moy dvash and zucker, whatever. The main thing, they filled up the pocket for pleasure. Really, the bracha should be, if the inside is a eitz, should be a eitz or a shahakul. You can't ignore it. But you can also, the ikir is the milu, so they made up shara, v'lechein, this is the oldest svara of the Alter Rebbe. Dai levarach Allah, boide min ha-mazaynus ala michya, v'lo ha-moitze b'chaz ha-mazon. So the Alter Rebbe is mechadish, his svara, that why did Chazal say, according to this opinion, the Parsha B'kisnin means that it's a pocket full of fruits or a pocket full of poppy seeds. Why did they say it's mazaynus? Because really it should be a shahakal or eitz, because that's the ikir. Elamai, how could you ignore chameshes min dog? On the other hand, you can make a moitze in it. They made up shor, you should make mazaynus. It's the Alter Rebbe svara. Therefore, based on that, he says, "Ve'em b'chlal ze'isam emula b'shum shemish oisam b'purim b'medinas elu shenikar as yosam l'din tayin al lamazon l'suda." Because on Purim, it's Yedua, this minig that used to be an old minig Yisrael that they made a challah, filled it up with sweet poppy seeds. They didn't make it to drink with coffee. They made this aldas
Eat with the tzimis.
to eat with the tzimis. To eat it with the meal, with the fish and the flesh. So therefore it's 100% amoisis. I said all the challahs that the chayas challahs that are made for Friday night, they're made for the Suda for Friday night. So they're 100% amoitis, there's no Sheilos. Even the Svardim that are Mahadir. And they make hamoitz and water challah. That's a news diet. It's a hidden mitzvah. It's a hidden mitzvah. But even the Svardim Lamoshul, they make mezainis on matzah all year. But on Pesach they make a moitzia matzah. Why? Because they say because the matzah was baked lekovid the suda of Yom Tov. The Su'uda of Yom Tov, so it's a moitzi. So why should this be different? Chayas chalas are all baked lekovet Shabbos. They're made for Shabbos Su'uda. They're made for Lechem Mishnah. So Taka, there is most of them are mahadir to water chalas, but you can't say this is not a moitzi. It was made al das, and this is the chiddush of the Alter Rebbe that even if you put in poppy seeds, so even if you put in poppy seeds, chocolate, so I said no problem. You could put in chocolate and double chocolate and cinnamon, as long as it's baked lekovet Suda Shabbos, it's hamoitzi.
And when he gives it to those neighbors, he should call them Persian chalas.
And even if it's cakey.
And Rabbi, the raya is there also.
Now he has a new challah.
Probably the Persian challah should probably be something with spices that are a little spicy. Yeah, it should be not with cinnamon.
No, they have a lot of dishes with sweets and pistachios.
Oh yeah,
Persians are famous. Most of the
with sweet stuff.
Half the world's pistachios come from Persia.
Oh yeah.
Even if it's like watered down.
Persian pistachio challah.
Even if it tastes like cake.
If it was ad kedei kach, I don't know.
Also, Rabbi,
the Alter Rebbe, this is what the Alter Rebbe says.
Are they mafresh?
What?
Are they mafresh in the bakery?
Challah?
Yeah, if they're mafresh, then there's further evidence.
No, they're mafresh challah. They're mafresh challah.
Cake
also.
What's that?
They're cake also the mafresh challah. Yeah.
I didn't know you had to do
What
that.
about a calzone? Will you make a calzone also you stuff it with things. Is that
right? So we stepped in. We had last a calzone 100% hamoitzi.
Yeah.
Have to eat a kazayas. You have to eat a kazayas.
Usually the calzones.
And but a lot of the bakeries we spoke about it last week. They make the dough with milk, and therefore is the golden rule according to the Alter Rebbe is that anytime you eat 4 kabetzim and your sava you make hamoitzi. If you eat less than 6 kabetzim and loy sava you make mazoinus. And we figured out that in the summer here that a pizza, the average pizza on the box, it says 40. It says that it's 40 ounces, and v'meila there's 8 slices, so there's 5 ounces in a slice. And the Rabbi Chaim Noah says that a kabetza is about 2 ounces, so every slice is about 2.5 kabetzim. So if you have
2 slices.
What about the cheese on top?
I forget. So the cheese is going to help it even more. But never mind. You're helping my argument. Well, you'll hear till the end. So the every slice cannot be more than 2.5 kabetzim. So if you eat as a snack 2 slices, so you ate less than 6 kabetzim. And if you're saying that loy sava, this is not going to satisfy you as a regular meal, which would take you 4 or 5 hours. It's just going to take you into, even though most people say 2 slices are not so filling, but me can wissen. The other day with my wife, we have a thing, we take out the kids for their birthday. We took her out to a pizza shop. I sit next to me 2 kids, and they came with two pizza pies.
Of course.
I thought it was a joke.
Wow.
Stop with the friends are soon coming.
I was going to say, the kids are
Stop with the friends. Yeah. And they look like the cows in Hada's dream.
The skinny ones are there.
The skinny ones, 2 skinny guys. 2 skinny guys. But I left before they finished the pies, but no friends were coming. It was one slice after the other. So if you're one of those guys and you have 2 slices of pizza and the pizza that were made with milk, definitely less than 6 kibetzim. You have to add the cheese, so it's probably about a slice, but without the cheese is less than 2 kibetzim. So if you have and if it's made with this is loy sava, so there's no problem. But if you have regular pizza that's made flour and water, so then even a half a slice, it's Charlotte Kazayas is a half a kibetz or a third, but about a half a slice you're ready for sure. About a third of a slice probably you should make a moitzi and bechas hamazon. So that's the answer about the calzone.
Who had bread? How many had bread?
Yeah.
But if you ate less than 2,
if you ate less than 2 and you're loy sava, or you ate 2 even, you're loy sava. But that's only if it's made flour and milk.
Right.
If it's made flour and water.
On the flour and milk.
If you're sava, then you have to eat more than 4 kibetzim. You have to eat more than 2 slices, because every slice is about 2.5 kibetzim. You have to take off the cheese. So probably if you eat 2 full slices and you're sava, you could watch and make a moitz and bechaz hamazon. You have to eat 2 full slices, not leave over the crust.
But the regular pizza and pizza, you eat a third of a slice.
The regular pizza, it's made flour and water, about a third of a slice, you can make a moitz and bechaz hamazon.